Is this really the human fleet? The grand circular chamber of the Galactic Council buzzed with nervous energy. Hundreds of alien representatives from across the Milky Way sat in rising tiers, their eyes fixed on the massive holographic display at the center of the room. The display showed a vast fleet of ships approaching the borders of Council space. Councilor Zixnera, a tall, blue-skinned being with 4 arms, leaned forward in her seat. Her large, compound eyes reflected the hologram's light as she studied the incoming ships. "What species commands this armada?" she asked, her voice echoing in the tense silence. The chief of Galactic Intelligence, a small, gray-skinned alien with a large head, stepped forward. "Honored counselors," he began, his voice thin and reedy. "Our initial scans were confusing, but we have confirmed the identity of the fleet. It's human." A wave of gasps and murmurs swept through the chamber. Counselor Krog, a bulky reptilian being, slammed his fist on his desk. "Impossible," he roared. "The humans were nothing but primitive apes playing with rockets just a few centuries ago." Elder Counselor Elthez, his wispy white hair floating around his ancient face, raised a gnarled hand for silence. "I remember," he said, his voice cracking with age, "when we first encountered the humans. They had just figured out how to reach their own moon." The hologram zoomed in on one of the ships. Its sleek design and pulsing energy signature spoke of technology far beyond what most council races possessed. "How?" whispered Zixnera. "How did they advance so quickly?" As if in answer to her question, the massive doors at the far end of the chamber swung open. A lone figure strode in, head held high. The alien counselors leaned forward, many rising from their seats to get a better look. It was a human. He wore a simple, dark uniform that contrasted sharply with the ornate robes and biosuits of the council members. His brown hair was cut short, and his eyes scanned the room with calm confidence. "Greetings, esteemed members of the Galactic Council," the human said, his voice carrying easily through the stunned silence. "I am Ambassador James Chen of Earth. We come in peace and friendship." Krog snorted, a puff of steam escaping his nostrils. "Peace, with a war fleet at our borders." Chen smiled. "Not a war fleet, Counselor. An exploration and diplomatic fleet. We've come to introduce ourselves properly to the galactic community." "But how?" Zixnera asked, her 4 hands gesturing at the hologram. "How did you achieve this level of technology so quickly?" The human's smile widened. "Adaptation, Counselor. It's what humans do best. We learn, we grow, we push boundaries. When we first met alien life, we realized how vast the universe truly was. It scared us, yes, but it also excited us. We poured everything we had into advancing our science and technology." He paused, looking around the room. "But it wasn't just technology. We learned to work together, to put aside our differences. Old enemies became allies, pooling resources and knowledge. We reached for the stars not as separate nations, but as one united species." The council chamber was silent, every being hanging on Chen's words. "We've made mistakes along the way," Chen continued. "We've had our wars, our disasters, but we've learned from them. And now we're ready to join the galactic community as full members. We bring with us new technologies, new ideas, and a burning desire to explore and understand the universe." Elder Elthez leaned forward. "And what do you ask in return, human?" Chen's expression turned serious. "Partnership, Elder. An exchange of knowledge and culture. We have much to learn from you, but we believe we have much to offer as well. Together, we could push the boundaries of science and exploration further than ever before." The council chamber erupted in a buzz of conversation. Some counselors looked excited, others worried, and a few seemed outright afraid. Zixnera stood, raising her hands for silence. When the room quieted, she looked directly at Chen. "Ambassador," she said, her voice carrying a mix of awe and caution, "your arrival has surprised us. We will need time to discuss and consider your offer." Chen nodded, Of course, Counselor. We understand this is unexpected. We will wait for your decision. He paused, then extended his hand towards her, palm open. In the meantime, may I offer a human gesture of friendship? The council chamber held its breath. Every eye was on Zixnera as she slowly extended one of her 4 hands. As human and alien clasped hands, a ripple of something new swept through the chamber. The galaxy would never be the same again. #Human Technology unveiled. A new era for the galaxy. 3 days after Ambassador Chen's dramatic entrance, the Galactic Council reconvened. The chamber buzzed with excitement and fear. Today, the humans would showcase their technology. Ambassador Chen stood at the center of the room, surrounded by strange devices. He smiled at the gathered aliens. Esteemed counselors, thank you for this opportunity. Today, we'll show you just a fraction of what humanity has achieved. He picked up a small silver cube. This is a universal translator. It can instantly translate any language, even unknown ones, in real time. He activated the device. Suddenly, every being in the room could understand each other perfectly, without delay. Gasps echoed through the chamber. Counselor Zixnera leaned forward, her 4 eyes wide. Incredible. How does it work with unknown languages? Chen's grin widened. It analyzes brain patterns and matches them to meaning. It doesn't just translate words, but concepts and intentions. Next, he held up a thin, flexible sheet. This is a holoscreen. It can display information, act as a computer, and even create 3D projections. He flicked his wrist, and a detailed 3D map of the galaxy sprang to life above the sheet. Counselor Krog, the reptilian alien, snorted. Fancy tricks. But do you have anything truly useful? Chen nodded seriously. Of course, Counselor. He pointed to a small, pulsing orb. This is a quantum energy core. It can power an entire city for a year using just the ambient energy around us. The room fell silent. Elder Elthes stood shakily. Young human, are you saying you've solved the energy crisis that has plagued our civilizations for millennia? Yes, Elder, Chen replied softly. And we're willing to share this technology with all peaceful races. Murmurs of astonishment filled the chamber. Chen continued his presentation, showing off medical nanobots that could cure most diseases, terraforming technology that could make barren planets habitable in months, and faster-than-light drives that could cross the galaxy in days. With each revelation, the Council's amazement grew, but so did their unease. Finally, Counselor Zixnera spoke up. Ambassador Chen, this is overwhelming. Your species has progressed so far, so fast. Many here are wondering, are you a threat to us? Chen's face grew serious. He looked around the room, meeting the eyes, or eye stalks, or sensory organs, of each council member. I understand your fear, he said quietly. Rapid change is always scary. But let me ask you this. If we wanted to conquer, why would we be here, offering to share our technology? He paused, letting his words sink in. Humanity has learned much in its journey to the stars. We've learned that cooperation is stronger than conflict, that diversity breeds innovation, and that the universe is far too vast and wonderful for any one species to explore alone. Chen spread his arms wide. We come to you not as conquerors, but as partners. We offer our technology not to show off, but because we believe that raising all species up will benefit everyone. We dream of a galaxy where all sentient beings can explore, learn, and grow together. The chamber was silent for a long moment. Then, slowly, Elder Elthes began to clap. One by one, other council members joined in, until the room thundered with applause. As the cheering died down, Zixnera stood. Ambassador Chen, on behalf of the Galactic Council, I thank you for this demonstration. We will need time to process all we've seen and to discuss the implications, but I believe I speak for many when I say that we look forward to a future of cooperation with humanity. Chen bowed deeply. Thank you, Counselor. We too look forward to that future. As the council session ended and members filed out, excited discussions broke out everywhere. The galaxy was entering a new era, and everyone could feel it. Humanity had arrived on the galactic stage, and nothing would ever be the same again. Humanity's first challenge. 2 weeks after the Human Technology Showcase, the Galactic Council made a historic decision. They voted to form an alliance with humanity. The news spread across the galaxy like wildfire, bringing hope to many and worry to some. On the day of the alliance signing, the council chamber was packed. Reporters from 1,000 worlds jostled for position. Ambassador Chen stood next to Councillor Zixnera, both ready to sign the treaty. Just as Chen picked up the pen, alarms blared. The giant screen at the front of the chamber lit up, showing a massive fleet of unknown ships entering the galaxy. "What's happening?" Chen asked, his face tight with concern. Zixnera's 4 eyes blinked rapidly. "It's the Void Swarm," she said, her voice shaking. "A hive mind species from another galaxy. They consume everything in their path. We've been monitoring them for centuries, but they weren't supposed to reach us for another 1,000 years." The room erupted in panic. Councillors shouted over each other, some calling for immediate evacuation, others demanding military action. Chen's voice cut through the chaos. "How long until they reach populated systems?" An alien technician answered. "At their current speed, 3 days, Ambassador." Chen nodded, his mind racing. He turned to Zixnera. "Counselor, I need to contact Earth immediately. We might have a solution, but we'll need the Council's cooperation." Hours later, the Council reconvened. Chen stood at the center, his face grim but determined. "The Void Swarm is a threat to all life in our galaxy," he began. "But humanity has faced extinction-level threats before. We've prepared for this day, even if we didn't know what form the threat would take." He activated a hologram, showing a complex network of satellites. "This is the Harmony Network. It's a system of quantum-linked devices that can create a galaxy-wide energy field. This field can disrupt the swarm's hive mind, rendering them harmless." Excited murmurs filled the room, but Councillor Krog growled skeptically. "If you have such a weapon, why haven't you used it already?" Chen shook his head. "It's not a weapon, Counselor. It's a shield, and it requires the cooperation of every spacefaring race to work. We need to place transmitters on every inhabited world, all linked and activated simultaneously." The room fell silent as the enormity of the task sank in. Zixnera spoke up. "That's thousands of worlds, Ambassador. It's impossible to reach them all in 3 days." Chen smiled for the first time since the alarm sounded. "Not with standard ships, no. But remember our faster-than-light drives. We can do it, but we'll need your help. Every race must work together, setting aside old rivalries and conflicts. It's the only way to save our galaxy." For a moment, no one spoke. Then, slowly, Elder Alphys stood. "In all my centuries," he said, his voice quavering, "I never thought I'd see the day when our galaxy truly united. Ambassador Chen, humanity has been part of our community for mere weeks, yet you offer us salvation. The El Fairy people stand with you." One by one, other councillors stood, pledging their support. Even Krog, after a long moment, grumbled his agreement. Chen nodded, his eyes shining. "Thank you all. Now, let's get to work. We have a galaxy to save." The next 3 days were a whirlwind of activity. Human ships, the fastest in the galaxy, zipped between worlds, delivering transmitters and instructions. Alien races that had been enemies for millennia worked side by side, united against a common threat. As the Void Swarm entered the galaxy's outer systems, a tense hush fell over every inhabited world. In the council chamber, Chen and Zixnera stood hand in hand, or hand in tentacle, before the activation switch. "Ready?" Chen asked. Zixnera nodded. "Ready. And thank you, James, for everything." Together, they flipped the switch, A wave of energy swept across the galaxy, invisible but felt by every being. On the main screen, they watched as the Void Swarm ships suddenly stopped, then began to drift aimlessly. A cheer went up in the chamber, echoed across countless worlds. They had done it. The galaxy was safe. As the celebration raged around them, Chen turned to Zixnera. "So," he said with a grin, "ready to sign that alliance treaty now?" Zixnera laughed, a sound of pure joy. "Oh, James," she said, "I think we just did. Humanity's greatest adventure." 6 months after the Void Swarm incident, the galaxy was buzzing with excitement. The newly formed Galactic Alliance had announced its first major project, the Great Cultural Exchange. Every member species would host representatives from other worlds, sharing their art, music, food, and traditions. On Earth, New York City had been chosen as the host site. Central Park had been transformed into a sprawling alien embassy complex, with buildings that defied Earth's architecture and gravity. Sarah Chen, Ambassador James Chen's daughter, and a young diplomat herself, stood at the entrance, greeting alien visitors. She watched in awe as a group of Zixnerians floated by, their 4 arms waving in greeting. Behind them, a family of rock-like Patroxians rumbled past, leaving small pebbles in their wake. "This is amazing," Sarah whispered to herself. Just then, she felt a tap on her shoulder. She turned to see Gloop, a gelatinous being from the water world of Aquarius VI. "Sarah, friend," Gloop burbled happily, "I bring news joy. The Petro-Zix Music Fusion concert is starting soon now in the Crystal Dome." Sarah grinned. "Thanks, Gloop. I wouldn't miss it for the world. Or should I say, for the galaxy." As they made their way to the Crystal Dome, a massive structure that seemed to be made of living crystal, Sarah marveled at the sights around her. Alien cuisines sizzled at food stalls, filling the air with strange but enticing aromas. In one corner, a group of humans were learning a complex dance from a 6-legged arachnoid, while nearby, a Vulcan-like being with pointed ears was teaching meditation to a mixed group of species. Inside the Crystal Dome, the concert was about to begin. The Patroxians, beings of living stone, took their places on stage. They began to sing, their voices a deep, resonant rumble that Sarah could feel in her bones. Then the Zixnerians joined in, their high melodic tones weaving through the Patroxian bast like shimmering threads of silver. As the music swelled, Sarah felt tears in her eyes. It was beautiful, alien, and yet somehow familiar. She looked around and saw similar reactions on faces and other sensory organs of all shapes and sizes. After the concert, Sarah wandered through the park, taking in more sights. She passed a virtual reality booth where visitors could experience life on other planets, a workshop where a Felorian master craftsman was teaching pottery to a rapt audience, and a holo-theater showing epic tales from a dozen different worlds. As the day turned to evening, Sarah found herself at the Galactic Cuisine Gala. Chefs from across the galaxy had prepared their finest dishes, adapting them for various dietary needs. Sarah watched as a human chef demonstrated how to make sushi to a group of aliens, while next to him, a blob-like being taught the art of psychic cooking. Sarah was about to try some glowing blue pasta when she heard a commotion. She turned to see her father, Ambassador Chen, rushing towards her, his face a mix of excitement and disbelief. "Sarah," he panted, "you won't believe this. The Harmony network we used against the Void Swarm. It's had an unexpected side effect. It's allowing telepathic communication between species." Sarah's eyes widened. "What? How is that possible?" "We're not sure yet," James replied. "But it seems the network has awakened some latent psychic abilities in many species, humans included. It's like the galaxy itself is coming alive, Sarah. Can you imagine the possibilities for understanding, for peace?" As if on cue, Sarah felt a gentle touch in her mind. Startled, she looked around and locked eyes with a young Zixnerian. Without words, she felt the alien's curiosity, friendliness, and a deep sense of wonder at the universe they shared. Sarah smiled and sent back feelings of welcome and excitement for the future. The Zixnarian's eyes widened in surprise and joy. As the night fell, the sky above Central Park lit up with a spectacular display of fireworks and holographic art from 100 worlds. Sarah stood with her father, Gloop, her new Zixnarian friend, and beings from across the galaxy, all watching in awe. "You know, Dad," Sarah said softly, "when I was little, I dreamed of exploring strange new worlds. I never imagined the strange new worlds would come to us." James put his arm around his daughter. "This, Sarah, is humanity's greatest adventure. Not conquering the stars, but befriending them." As if in agreement, a shower of shooting stars blazed across the sky, a final magical touch to a day that had changed the galaxy forever. Humanity's ultimate test. As the Curiosity entered the archive of the Drevni, Captain Sarah Chen and her crew found themselves in a vast chamber. The walls shimmered with holographic displays showing the history of countless civilizations. "It's incredible," Dr. Patel whispered, her eyes wide with wonder. Suddenly, the voice of the Drevni filled the chamber. "To access our knowledge, you must pass 3 trials. Each will test a different aspect of your civilization's worth." 3 doors appeared in the chamber walls. Each glowed with a different color: red, blue, and green. "Choose wisely," the voice said. "For each trial, you may send only 1 representative." The crew huddled together, discussing their options. After a heated debate, they made their choices. Kirks, the octopoid strategist, approached the red door. "I will face the first trial," he said, his tentacles rippling with determination. As Kirks disappeared through the door, Sarah turned to Zorn, the Luminian scientist. "Are you sure about this?" she asked. Zorn's body pulsed with soft light. "Yes, Captain. My people have always sought knowledge. I am ready for the second trial." With that, Zorn floated through the blue door. Sarah took a deep breath and faced her remaining crew. "I guess that leaves the third trial for me," she said with a nervous smile. Dr. Patel gripped Sarah's arm. "Be careful, Captain. We'll be monitoring you as best we can." Sarah nodded and stepped through the green door. Inside, she found herself in what looked like a war room. Holographic displays showed a galaxy under attack by a terrifying force that consumed entire planets. The voice of the Drevni spoke. "This is the trial of leadership. You must save this galaxy from annihilation. You have 1 hour." Sarah's mind raced. She studied the displays, asked questions, and quickly formulated a plan. Using a combination of human ingenuity, Zixnarian technology, and strategies she'd learned from Kirks, she coordinated a galaxy-wide defense. As the clock ticked down, Sarah made a bold decision. Instead of fighting the invaders, she opened communications with them. Using the universal translator technology from Earth, she negotiated a peace treaty, turning the invaders into allies against a greater threat she discovered lurking in intergalactic space. Just as the hour ended, the simulation froze. "Impressive," the Drevni voice said. "You have passed the trial of leadership." Meanwhile, Kirks had faced the trial of ethics, navigating complex moral dilemmas that tested the limits of his species' philosophy. His compassionate yet logical approach impressed the Drevni. Zorn's trial was one of scientific understanding. The Luminian faced a series of increasingly difficult scientific puzzles, each requiring a deep understanding of the universe's fundamental laws. Zorn's natural curiosity and ability to perceive patterns in light itself proved crucial. As all 3 reunited in the central chamber, the voice of the Drevni spoke again. "You have passed the trials. Together, you have shown wisdom, ethics, and understanding. You are worthy of our knowledge." The chamber walls dissolved, revealing an even larger space filled with glowing orbs of energy. Each orb contained the complete history and scientific knowledge of an ancient civilization. "Before you lies the collected wisdom of 1,000,000 years, the voice said. "Use it wisely. But remember, young ones, Knowledge is a tool. It is your unity, your diversity, and your compassion that truly make you great. Sarah looked at her companions, beings from different worlds united in this moment of triumph. "Thank you," she said to the voice. "We will honor this gift." As the crew of the Curiosity began to explore the vast library of knowledge, Sarah couldn't help but feel a sense of pride. Humanity had come so far, from a single planet to the stars, and now they stood at the threshold of unimaginable discovery. But she also felt the weight of responsibility. With this knowledge, they could reshape the galaxy. The real test, Sarah realized, was just beginning. How would they use this power? Would they remain true to the ideals that had brought them here? As if reading her thoughts, Kirks placed a tentacle on her shoulder. "Together, Captain," he said, "we will face whatever comes next, together." Sarah nodded, her determination renewed. Whatever challenges lay ahead, humanity and their galactic allies would face them united, armed with the wisdom of the ancients and the strength of their diversity. The greatest chapter in galactic history was about to unfold. Humanity's new era. 5 years had passed since the crew of Curiosity discovered the Drevni archive. The galaxy had changed more in those 5 years than in the previous million. On Earth, in the newly built Cosmic Unity Plaza in New Delhi, Captain Sarah Chen stood before a diverse crowd of humans and aliens. Above them, the sky was filled with ships and floating cities, a testament to how far they'd come. "Today," Sarah began, her voice carried across the galaxy via quantum communication, "we celebrate not just human achievement, but the achievement of all sentient beings in our galaxy." She gestured to the beings standing beside her. Kirks the Octopoid, Zorn the Luminian, Dr. Patel, and representatives from 100 other species. "With the knowledge of the Drevni, we've cured diseases, ended hunger, and reversed climate change on countless worlds. We've unlocked the secrets of dark matter and learned to fold space itself." The crowd cheered, their voices a symphony of different tones and frequencies. "But our greatest achievement," Sarah continued, "has been learning to work together. Human creativity, Zixnarian logic, octopoid ethics, Luminian perception, all these and more have combined to create a galactic civilization greater than the sum of its parts." As if on cue, the sky above lit up with a dazzling display. A new star bloomed into existence, then another and another. "What you're seeing," Sarah explained, "is the birth of new stars, created using Drevni technology. We're not just exploring the galaxy anymore, we're helping it grow, nurturing it like a vast cosmic garden." The crowd watched in awe as the new stars twinkled to life. "But with great power comes great responsibility." Sarah's tone grew serious. "We faced a choice, to use this knowledge for domination or cooperation. I'm proud to say we chose cooperation." She smiled at Kirks, remembering their many debates on how to use the Drevni knowledge ethically. "We've established the Galactic Ethics Council, with representatives from all species. Every major decision is carefully considered for its impact on all life, from the smallest microbe to the largest spacefaring civilization." Dr. Patel stepped forward, holding a glowing orb. "This," she said, "is our latest creation. A quantum-entangled education network. With this, anyone in the galaxy can access all of our combined knowledge instantly." The orb floated from her hands, expanding until it enveloped the entire plaza. Suddenly, everyone present could see and feel the wonders of the universe, from the dance of quarks to the majesty of colliding galaxies. As the display faded, Sarah spoke again. "But our journey is far from over. The Drevni left us a final message, a set of coordinates leading out of our galaxy. It seems we're not alone in the universe." A ripple of excitement passed through the crowd. "Next month, we launch the first intergalactic expedition. The ship Unity will carry representatives from every Alliance species. Our mission: to make peaceful contact with other galactic civilizations." The crowd erupted in cheers and applause. "Humanity," Sarah said, her voice filled with emotion. "We've come so far from our humble beginnings. We've reached the stars, made friends with beings we once thought impossible, and unlocked the secrets of the cosmos. But our greatest adventure still lies ahead." She raised her hand, and everyone, human and alien alike, joined her. "To the future," they said in unison, their voices echoing across Earth and beyond, carried by the quantum network to every corner of their thriving, united galaxy. As the ceremony ended, Sarah looked up at the star-filled sky. She thought of the long journey from humanity's first steps on the moon to this moment. They had faced challenges, made mistakes, but always kept pushing forward, driven by an insatiable curiosity and an unbreakable spirit. Now, as they prepared to step beyond their galaxy, Sarah felt a sense of pride and excitement. Whatever wonders or challenges awaited them in the vast intergalactic expanse, humanity and their allies would face them together. The cosmic renaissance had begun, and the best was yet to come.